Hey everybody, John Marion here. Today I want to talk to you about some contract changes in the Georgia Association of Realtors contracts that we use as real estate agents. Today I went through some training just to get updated on the changes in the contracts in 2018, and you could see there's just like a ton of pages here. These are only the pages that we use most frequently, or actually these are the pages that were printed that were the most important changes that were made in the contracts. The contracts are usually updated twice a year. The biggest change occurs in the beginning of the year, and this year they went into effect on January 1st. So went over those contract changes in a class today, and I'll be making a series of videos probably in the next few weeks or months or whatever. But there's one about the contract changes, but there's one change in particular that I wanted to emphasize today, and that is the new language alerting the clients, the general public who's engaged in a real estate transaction with us as agents, how important it is to make sure you protect yourself when wiring money for a real estate transaction, when the client initiates the wire to send money to the closing attorney, or the client receiving money from the closing attorney. There's a lot of fraud in the industry. We've all known this for years. There's been some language in the contract, but the new language I'm going to show you in a minute is really, really well written, and very, very important that we talk to our clients about this. I have a personal experience in a client almost losing $50,000 in a real estate transaction because a fraudulent email was sent to the closing attorney, and unfortunately their staff did not pick up on the fact that the email was not from the real estate agent, the team, actually my team leader. And the attorney staff received the email, believed it was from the trusted realtor that we were working on in the transaction, and it was a fraudulent email. And that my client's money was actually wired to the wrong bank. And immediately we realized what happened. I called the attorney up, and at first he showed me the email. He sent me a copy of the email, and I was really confused as to why my colleague would send an email like that. It wouldn't make any sense. And so I was about to hang up on the phone with him and call my colleague up to ask them, why did you send this email? We're not supposed to send emails like this. And before I hung up with the attorney, I said, wait a minute, that email address is not the correct email address. And it was just such a one-letter change, I think it was. And it was so well done that it seemed to have come from a legitimate source. So there's couple of takeaways in my experience. One, even prior to that, and now I emphasize it even more, that when we are engaged as an agent in a real estate transaction, we always tell the closing attorneys we're working with, our clients, and anyone else who would need to know that we as agents will never communicate wiring instructions on behalf of our clients, or on behalf of a lender, or on behalf of a closing attorney. That's not the type of information we would ever communicate as real estate agents. And so if they receive any communication that seems like it's from us or our broker regarding wiring instructions, especially asking for information, account numbers, what's the routing number, all this sort of information, that is not legitimate communication from us as real estate agents. So you want to do that with your clients as well, and all your colleagues and the professionals that you work with. They should know, they're in the industry, they should know not to take any communication like this seriously. But if anyone lets their guard down, they need to just remember that that they know you well enough and they know you would not communicate this type of information by email, in any manner. Um, you know, even on the phone or anything, you would not even communicate that information. But it's also important that the client verify that the information they're receiving from the closing attorney is in fact from the closing attorney. And by doing that with a phone call, an attorney with a good staff will follow up and verify that the information they're receiving is indeed from the client who's involved in the real estate transaction. There'll be a independent, check of the information that it came from a legitimate source. So let's take a look at the newly worded paragraph in the GAR form, and this is from the purchase and sale agreement, and it's paragraph 5 here. I think it's section C, but anyway, beware of cyber fraud. And I'm just going to read this. It's very well written, very important information. Fake emails attempting to get you to wire money to criminal computer hackers are increasingly common in real estate transactions. Under the scam, computer hackers fraudulently assume the online identity of the actual mortgage lender, closing attorney, and or real estate broker with whom you are working in the real estate transaction. Posing as a legitimate company, they then direct you to wire money to them. In many cases, the fake email is sent to what appears to be the authentic web page of the legitimate company responsible for sending the wiring instructions. You should use great caution in wiring funds based solely on wiring instructions sent to you by email. Independently verifying the wiring instructions with someone from the company sending them is the best way to prevent fraud. In particular, you should treat as highly suspect any follow-up emails you receive from a mortgage lender, closing attorney, and or real estate broker directing you to wire funds to a revised account number. Never verify wiring instructions by calling a telephone number provided along with a second set of wiring instructions, since you may end up receiving a fake verification from the computer hackers trying to steal your money. Independently look up the telephone number of the company who is supposed to be sending you the wiring instructions and make sure you have the right one. This is really critical that we as agents explain how important this is to our clients so that they can protect themselves and their money doesn't go from the closing attorney to some foreign bank account, or that the money they're wiring, thinking they're sending it to the closing attorney, is actually being diverted somewhere else because they received fraudulent wiring instructions. This is super important. I want to emphasize this for all of our agents, and if you're an agent really anywhere, I would think this would be important, but especially those who use the Georgia Association of Realtors contracts. This is super, super important. So anyway, I hope that's helpful, and I wanted to emphasize that in this video and just hammer it home of just how important this is. If you have any questions about what I said or any comments, please leave them below. And just a disclaimer, I'm not an attorney and I'm not giving any legal advice. I'm just sharing with you as a real estate agent what I learned in the contracts class for the Georgia Association of Realtors, one of the big changes in the contract for 2018.